WHAS 11 Weather First.
Good evening. I'm meteorologist Alden German. It's a quiet night out there for us. Temperatures in the middle 50s, still unseasonably warm, even if it is a bit dreary out there with those cloudy skies. We're not quite done with the rain yet. I'm tracking the potential to see some light showers for tonight. Unlikely we'll have any thunderstorms, but ahead I'll break down a somewhat active weather pattern for the upcoming week. You're watching WHAS 11 News at 6:30.
New information just into the newsroom. Preliminary reports from the National Weather Service say 2 EF1 tornadoes touched down earlier this morning. Thanks so much for joining us here at 6:30. I'm Alex Dieterer. One tornado touched down in north central Kentucky while the other hit Clark County in southern Indiana. WHAS 11 has been covering the damage all day with meteorologist Reed Yaden, storm chaser John Humphreys, Connor Steffen, and photojournalist Aspen Hester. Connor Steffen and Aspen Hester report from Clark County now as they're left picking up the pieces left from the storms.
The lights are back on for most in Clark County following storms in an EF1 tornado that touched down overnight, leaving scenes like this in its path.
Well, it's a mess here for sure.
National Weather Service surveyors made their way out to southern Indiana Saturday to assess the damage. They determined the tornado's winds reached a max 90 miles per hour during its brief time on the ground.
I would guess 30 seconds to 2 minutes right in there, and it happens that quick.
The NWS says the area also saw a patch of straight-line winds that reached 80 miles per hour. By Saturday evening, county crews were still working to clear storm debris from roads, and utility companies worked to restore power for the remaining 100 or so homes still in the dark. In total, the storm knocked out power for about 1,700 homes in the area. Clark County first responders say they've responded to 35 weather-related calls for service Saturday, specifically in the Henryville and New Washington areas, mostly for reports of downed trees and power lines. NWS meteorologist John Gordon says the warm temperatures fueled the severe storms, which hit when most people were sleeping.
It's the worst case scenario it is. We had December 21, we had Mayfield, Bowling Green, things like that. Folks, just have a way to receive your warning. Be prepared. You never know when this is going to happen. When it gets warm, better have a plan at night.
This homeowner is still shaken up from the experience. He says it started with flooding in the basement before his home's roof caved in, just feet from where he was standing at the time. In his backyard, you can see a heaping of debris, parts of what was his front porch. Joined by family, he's just starting the cleanup process, but feels thankful to have made it out alive. In Clark County, Indiana, Connor Steffen, WHAS 11, on your side.
After storms rolled through southern Indiana, the Highlander Fire Department and Floyd's Knobs responded to a gas fire at a home. Fire officials say just after 5:30 this morning, they responded to the home on Fairway Drive to reports of a natural gas leak. When crews arrived, they found a natural gas fire blazing out of the ground. Surveying crews also discovered the leak and fire had spread to the house across the street. Crews were able to evacuate both homes and put out the fire. It was determined that the fire had started in the basement ceiling, where a natural gas line had ruptured and caught fire. Investigators are still working to determine how the line ruptured, but it is believed that lightning from this morning's storm started the fire. One person is dead and 2 others are injured after a crash in Bardstown. Bardstown Fire responded just before 5 yesterday evening to Boston Road. Fire officials say a loaded rock dump truck and a car collided. 3 people in the car were trapped due to the crash. Crews were able to get 2 people out of the vehicle, but 1 person died at the scene. The other 2 were transported to the hospital with minor injuries. And an update for you this evening, a 20-year-old who has been missing since New Year's Eve was found safe yesterday. Delano Ray was reported missing by his mom after he left his home in Jeffersontown for a party New Year's Eve, but never showed up to the party and didn't return home the following day. In an update on Facebook, Clara Sloan said her son reached out and confirmed he was safe. She says he was stuck and needed time alone, and he is sorry for all of the worry. To help alleviate the national bus driver shortage here at a local level, JCPS held a bus driver hiring blitz today. More than 200 people showed up to the 5-hour event today. They could apply to be a bus driver, interview, get the DOT physical done, and talk with other bus drivers about the job. Ronald Fawbush has been a bus driver with JCPS for 10 years. He says events like this one help fill open positions and also balance the workload among other drivers.
We don't have a bus driver. We have to double up. Not only that, but to make the students late getting to school. And, you know, that could be a little stressful sometimes, especially if a parent is working, and they're trying to wait till the child gets to school. So the more drivers that we have, the lot easier.
If you missed today's hiring blitz, JCPS bus driver applications are open year-round. We'll have a link to apply attached to this story at WHAS11.com. Kentucky lawmakers advanced a bill out of a Senate committee that would end diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts on college campuses. The measure won approval out of the Senate Education Committee Thursday. Supporters say the bill is a needed response to what they see as discriminatory trends in higher education. Opponents, however, say the measure could hurt efforts to expand the presence of underrepresented groups on campuses.
This bill does nothing to improve academic standards, increase critical thinking, or expand the diversity of thought on college campuses. Instead, it opens the door to the unregulated flow of narrow-minded ideologies that seek to marginalize rather than to include, and silence rather than discuss.
But what we have seen is a trend across the United States forcing faculty, in order to remain employed, to formally endorse a set of beliefs that may be contrary to their own, all in violation of the First Amendment.
The bill would bar public colleges and universities from providing preferential treatment based on a person's political ideology, and it lays out a list of discriminatory concepts that would be prohibited. The bill would allow the state attorney general's office to take legal action to compel a school's compliance. The bill now heads to the full Senate.